I want to talk to you about a project that I did at my own property that I made a video about a few years ago, and in a nutshell I messed up, and when I'm wrong I'll tell you I'm wrong, and I'll be honest about it, because I think it's one thing sharing all your wins and sharing content on YouTube and everywhere else, showing people how to do things and passing down your knowledge and stuff, but I think it's really important as well that when you mess up and you give people the wrong information, that you're honest about it and correct it. So that's what I'm going to do today. And some of you might remember that I made a video about applying sand and cement onto render carrier board. So I've got two outbuildings here at my own property. I've got a garage here, right, which is built from sectional concrete. It's got render carrier board all over it. Now, in the video that I made before, I was suggesting that you can apply a cement slurry, which is basically SBR and cement mixed together, apply that to your render carrier board and then put sand and cement on it with mesh. And I've done that here and all the way around. On this concrete sectional garage, there's no issues, it's been fine. However, I've also built a summer house down here, which I'll show you now. Excuse the mess. I'm in the middle of finishing this slab in. Well, I was, until the appendix went bang, but that's another story. We'll come on to that story. But this garden project's been going on for years, so just excuse the mess. But basically this whole building here I built out of timber frame. And it's a beast. It's like 6 meters deep by about 4.5 wide, something like that. And I've clad it with cement carrier board. And I did the same thing. I applied a slurry coat, SBR cement, and then I meshed and applied sand and cement, and it's been good for a few years. And funnily enough, Ryan Hill from P1, when he seen that video that I made, he got in touch and he said, "Stu, you're wrong, you can't do that, mate." And we sort of got into a bit of a, I wouldn't say an argument about it, but we had a difference of opinion, and I was a bit cocky and said, no, I've been doing this for a while, mate. You can apply sand and cement over render carrier board, no issues, as long as you apply your slurry coats and whatnot. He says it might be alright on the solid structure, but ain't going to be any good on the timber frame. And he's tried to sort of, say, he tried to correct me and advise me. Obviously, it's pre-bag renders is his thing. And I ignored the advice. So Ryan, like I say, if I fuck up I'll tell you, and if I make mistakes I'll be honest about it. So it has failed, and I'll show you where and why and what's going on. So hairline cracks coming through around the corners of the doors. So it's all been meshed and everything. Hairline cracks coming through around the doors. Some of it is bouncing a little bit where it's blown. There's just too much movement in this building because the whole thing's made out of timber. And obviously, with it being my own house, it's not the end of the world, and it'll be getting done properly at some point. I'm going to be doing it again at some point. But I just wanted to be honest about it, be transparent with you. And like I say, I don't want to be putting the wrong information out to up and coming plasterers, telling them that they can slap sand and cement onto render carrier board if it's not a long-term feasible option. So and that's part of the reason that I jumped on this training course with K-Rend. They had an offer on, which was a quick introduction into modern render systems, and I knew that they were showcasing HB12, which is the product that I probably should have used on this building. because it's polymer based and it's designed to flex. And if I had have used that, then I wouldn't have any issues with it. So again, just wanted to talk about that, be honest. If you are considering rendering over a carrier board, especially if it's a timber frame building, don't use sand and cement because it won't last. Might last a few years, but it's not going to be a long-term solution for timber frame building. So I just wanted to share that, and also wanted to talk about the K-Ren training yesterday. So if you're like me and you've only ever done sand and cement render and you're a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to the external renders, then I'd highly recommend, if you want a quick insight and a quick introduction to the pre-bag modern renders from K-Rend, then I suggest have a little sneak peek at the K-Rend introduction to modern renders. If you want a proper training day, I'd suggest get in touch with Joel Cook, because obviously he's a seasoned plasterer and he relies on these render systems to feed his family, and he'll give you a more real world training and insight to what works, what doesn't, and proper training really. I would suggest go with Joel Cook. But if you just want a quick insight, little 2-foot panel, throw a little bit on the wall and get your head around it, and learn a little bit more on the other K-Rend products, then go and do the little introduction with K-Rend. So that's what I would suggest. But I wanted to share that with you, and let me know as well if you've ever done this, if you've ever chucked sand and cement onto render carrier board on a timber frame, and did you have any issues with it a few years down the line like I have. So Ryan Hill, you gave the correct advice. I was wrong. I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong. I'm happy to, share that with everybody, because I'm a human being at the end of the day. And with it being in my own property is a good thing, because I've been able to obviously monitor it and see when it's failed. So I'm glad that I didn't do this on anyone else's job, because it would obviously have come back to bite me in the ass. So lightweight pre-bag stuff is what you need, designed to go over render carrier board. And let me know your thoughts in the chat.